in this video, we're going to learn how to use CSS to style our links. So I'm continuing on with the page we've been using. Now it has all of the different types of links in there. There's bookmarks that jump around on the page. There's referential links that go to other pages in our website. And there are external links that launch out into a new browser window. Now we're going to address this issue of this horrifying blue color that looks just terrible against the background that we've chosen. We want to be able to control the color of the link. And so of course we're going to use CSS to do that. So let me just show you the just simple basic way. And this is, if you're just thinking through your CSS, and what we've learned before, it should make total sense that what we need to do is take our A tag and add it into our style section of our head. And then we're going to apply a color. So in this case, let's just start with a good basic white. And as you can see, all of the links now have turned white. That's okay. Although down here in the body of the web page, that's a little hard to read, so that's an issue. And notice this did not affect this particular link because that one we actually used a CSS style right here, the color right here, for our top nav, and so that is going to override the individual tag color because it's in a custom CSS, and so in the order of priority, this is going to take precedence over this one. That's okay. That's fine to leave that way. But what we really want to figure out is how can we, the white looks pretty good up here, right? So how could we make these white, but make these a different color that's going to be easier to read? So let me show you a few things that we can do with our CSS selectors to target different instances of our links, because obviously they all use that same tags, and make some changes. First of all, let's go ahead and apply this particular color just to the nav section. And I can accomplish that by using nav and then a space and A. All that means is this will apply to all of the A links that are contained within a nav tag, right? A nav section. So if I go ahead and save that, and then I'm going to reload here. So these stayed the same, they're all in the nav, but these have changed. So that accomplishes part of what we're trying to do. Now, the other thing is, what if we wanted these to have a little bit more dynamism, right? There's some things we can do with what are called the CSS pseudo classes. And there are a bunch of them for links in particular, because links have some different states. There's the link state itself, there's the hover state, and there's the visited state. And all of those we can apply different properties to. So, okay, so here we have our nav A. This is going to be our color for that. What about if we do nav A and hover? So that's when the mouse is hovering over the anchor tag. Let's say we're going to take away the underline. So all this is saying is when the mouse is hovering, this indicates when the mouse is hovering over one of the A tags that are within the nav section, it's going to make the underlining go away. Okay, so let's try it. There, take a look. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? It's a little bit dynamic. It adds a little, almost like animation to the page, and certainly makes it clearer that these are in fact links. Now, if we wanted to make this even more obvious what's happening here, we could go ahead and add, a change of color as well. Yeah, that's not too bad. I kind of like that green. That's all right, a little sagey. Okay, so we can do that. Now, the other thing we can do, we can even do something like font weight to make these stand out more, and then font weight normal in our hover state, and let's see what that does. Okay, that's a little too weird for me. I mean, you can definitely do it, but it's a little too disruptive. So I'm going to take that one out, but it is possible to do that. And if I take it out and I don't change it, then it's going to just stay consistent and in the state that I assigned it in the A state. Okay, now we can also do the visited state, and we could give that, say, a different color as well. Let's say we wanted to, after we've clicked on one of those tags, we want it to just stay that sagey green color. And there you can see all of the links that we've visited already. Those have become that sagey green. And when I click on that and then go back to the top, you see that it goes to that sagey green color. So that's what visited means. Basically marks the link as having been visited by the user. So these are what are called, like I said, those pseudo classes, indicated with a colon and then the name of the class that we're trying to affect, in this case, visited tags. Now, once again, I've only affected the links that are in the nav area. What about the rest of the ones on the page? If we want to, we can target it with, like, say, article A, or we could just use our A state and our A hover and whatever, because the fact that these are more specifically within that container will protect it from whatever styling we do here. This is the default visited color, this purple, and again, it's not great contrast, and that blue is certainly pretty terrible. Let's try maybe an orangish color instead, because that's more of a complementary color to blue instead of another color in the same family. So again, just design-wise, that might be a thing to think about here. Okay, I mean, that's better. That's definitely better. That affects these, and just to confirm, that has not done anything to these links, right? These are still using this coding, and then the new A is what we've got down here, okay? Now, once again, we can do a hover state on that if we want to, and you know, take away that text decoration, just for example. Okay, so we have those, we have these. Now, we're doing the same thing to both of these. So if we want to consolidate our code, and I've probably mentioned this to you, maybe given you some examples of this, but another thing we could do is go ahead and add in here a hover as another one of the CSS, as another tag to which this code applies. Now, obviously, we don't necessarily want that code applying to both, so we can do this. And then that allows us to get rid of that code here. And all of the things that we want to make the same between them, we can do in this way. And again, this is not actually going to change anything. It's just a way of targeting differently. I just want you to see some of the different possibilities for how you can code your CSS. And in this case, it doesn't make a ton of difference, honestly. But sometimes when you have a whole set of things that are true across, you know, a series of different tags or classes, this is a great way to do it. It's really going to save you some coding time. So that allows you to target this specifically. And notice, the hover thing is applying to this one as well. Let's say we didn't like that. We wanted to override that. We can do that in this way. So this is another type of selector. So what this is saying, I just did A and then dot top nav. Remember top nav, that's my custom class up here that I defined. So now I can use that with any tag that's appropriate. And in this case, so what it's saying is any A tag that has the custom class top nav assigned to it is going to have this styling. Oh, and in fact, we want it to apply specifically to the hover state, so we would do it this way. So any A with the custom class top nav and in the hover state will have text decoration underline. Right? So now this one, when I hover over it, it stays, these do not. Okay? So that just gives you a sense of how we can target very precisely using our CSS, different things on the page. So we didn't have to change a thing in terms of our HTML coding. We're just getting more precise in terms of our CSS coding and the selectors that we're using to make things, different things happen on the page. Here's all the code that we wrote. And it applies to 3 different types of link properties. And it applies to all 3 different types of links, depending in what section of the page they are. Certain things apply to the nav, certain things apply to just general body links, and then we have one custom thing that we have applying just to top nav that's a special custom class. So that gives you a sense of how you can use CSS, and hopefully you're getting some ideas about targeting, even aside from links, just other things, using these kinds of conventions to select things, to consolidate your code, and to apply styles to your custom classes.